My name is Sam, and I'm 66 years old. I've learned something about storms in my lifetime. The worst ones don't always darken the sky. Sometimes they arrive with a handshake, a confident smile, and a business plan. The morning my nephew told me he wanted to turn my lakefront cottage into his Airbnb rental, the water of Silver Lake lay perfectly still, like it was holding its breath. I should have known I needed to do the same. Chapter 1: A place that saved me. The cottage sits on a gentle curve of shoreline, wrapped in pine trees that whisper even when the wind forgets to blow. The dock stretches out like a quiet promise into the water. When the sun rises, it spills gold across the lake and turns everything soft. This place didn't just become my home, it saved me. 35 years ago, after I lost my wife Martha to cancer, I couldn't stand the echo of our old house. Every room felt like a museum of what used to be. Her slippers still by the bed, her favorite teacup by the sink, silence heavier than any noise. So I sold that house and bought this broken-down cottage by the lake. It was barely standing. The porch sagged like it was tired of life. The roof leaked, the windows rattled, but something about it felt honest. It didn't pretend to be perfect, it simply existed. I repaired it with blistered hands and quiet tears. I planted Martha's favorite white roses along the walkway. I rebuilt the dock plank by plank. Every nail I hammered felt like I was stitching myself back together. Over the years, this cottage became my anchor. My mornings began with black coffee and birdsong. My evenings ended with the lake reflecting the moon like a silver mirror. Peace lived here. Chapter 2: The Boy on the Dock. When my nephew Tyler lost his parents in a car accident 15 years ago, he was only 21, angry, lost, fragile in ways he didn't want to admit. He came here that summer. I remember him standing on the dock, staring at the water like it owed him answers. Some nights he cried quietly, thinking I couldn't hear him. Other nights he raged, throwing stones into the lake as if he could sink his grief. I didn't lecture him much. I cooked for him, gave him work to do, made him fix the old shed. Grief needs movement, I learned. Stillness makes it louder. By the end of that summer, something in him steadied. He went back to the city, built a career in online marketing. Smart kid, sharp mind, quick talker. But every year he came back at least once. And every year he'd stand on that dock again, this time not grieving, but remembering. Chapter 3: Opportunity Knocks. The day he arrived with the idea, he looked different, polished, confident, restless. "Uncle Sam," he said, stepping onto the porch like he was unveiling a masterpiece, "this place is a hidden fortune." I smiled faintly. "It's a cottage." "It's lakefront property," he insisted. "People pay thousands for weekend stays like this. We could renovate, modernize, add a hot tub, smart locks, market it right, it'd be booked year-round." He spoke quickly, excitement rising with every sentence. "You wouldn't have to lift a finger," he added. "I'd manage everything. We split the profits." Profits? The word didn't belong in this kitchen. "Tyler," I said gently, "this is my home. But it can be more than that." That's when I felt it, the shift. To him, the cottage was potential revenue. To me, it was sacred ground. He wasn't trying to hurt me, he was trying to succeed. But sometimes ambition forgets to knock softly. Chapter 4: The Growing Divide. In the weeks that followed, Tyler's visits became presentations. Spreadsheets, projections, market trends. He walked through the cottage pointing at walls. "We'd knock this down." He tapped the cabinets. "Replace these." He looked at Martha's old rocking chair. That wouldn't fit the aesthetic. The aesthetic? I began to feel like a guest in my own memories. One afternoon, I overheard him on the phone outside. "It's practically mine eventually," he said. "I just need him to agree." Practically mine. That's when I understood the real problem. He wasn't just seeing opportunity. He was seeing inheritance. Chapter 5: The Decision. That night, the lake was restless. Small waves slapped the shore like whispered warnings. I sat at the kitchen table with Martha's photo in front of me. "Am I being stubborn?" I asked her softly. The truth came quietly. This place had always been about healing, not profit. The next morning, I visited my lawyer. I changed my will. Instead of leaving the cottage to Tyler, I arranged for it to be donated to a foundation that provides temporary housing retreats for homeless veterans after my passing, men who needed quiet, men who carried invisible wounds. The cottage would remain what it had always been, a refuge. I also placed it in a living trust, so it couldn't be sold or commercialized while I was alive. It wasn't revenge. It was protection. Chapter 6: The Dinner. I invited Tyler for dinner. He came smiling, certain he'd won. We ate grilled fish and roasted potatoes. For a while, it felt like old times. Then I slid the folder across the table. He read silently, his face changed. "You gave it away?" he asked, stunned. "After I'm gone," I corrected. "But this should stay in the family." "It will," I said calmly, "just not as an income stream." Anger flashed in his eyes. "You don't trust me." "I don't trust the version of you that sees everything as a transaction." The words hung heavy between us. Then something unexpected happened. His voice broke. I thought this was how I could build something big, something meaningful. "And you will," I said softly, "but not by shrinking something that already is." He sank back into his chair. For the first time since this began, he looked like the boy on the dock again. Chapter 7: The Real Surprise. A week passed. Then Tyler returned, without plans, without contractors. "Just a toolbox. I thought we could fix the loose boards on the dock," he said quietly. We worked side by side all afternoon, no talk of money, just wood, nails, and lake water. As the sun dipped low, he sat beside me. "I forgot what this place feels like," he admitted. "It's not supposed to be loud." "It's not supposed to be sold," I replied gently. He nodded. "I'm sorry, Uncle Sam." I placed a hand on his shoulder. "I'm not against your ambition. I just want you to build something that doesn't cost you your heart." He wiped his eyes quickly, embarrassed. "I don't need this cottage," he said. "I need to remember who I am when I'm here." Epilogue: The Quiet Victory. I didn't change the will. But I added a provision. Tyler could one day help oversee the foundation's work, if he chose to protect the cottage's purpose instead of profit from it. He smiled when I told him. "Deal," he said. Now he visits not as a businessman, but as family. Sometimes he brings friends, not to rent the place but to unplug. They fish, they sit by the fire, they leave quietly. The lake remains calm. And so do I. Moral of the story: not everything with value should be monetized. Some places exist to restore, not to generate income. Ambition without respect becomes greed, but ambition guided by love becomes legacy. At 66 years old, I've learned this. The greatest surprise you can give someone isn't revenge. It's a reminder of what truly matters.